Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. Death Watch here to give you guys more intel so you can update your personal armory and fight back against the fake news media machine. And today we'll be talking about Charles Barron here, right, who is a New York State representative and speaking at the National Summit on Gentrification, where he openly celebrates the fact that white people are moving out of his community, right? And we're going to kind of take a look at this in the big picture as to why he is celebrating. Him and the rest of these people are celebrating this.
I have the distinct honor to be able to come before you and say I actually lost white population in my community. I lost them. They left. They left. I didn't ask them why. They left. So if you see one or two or three or four or five whites in my neighborhood, they're passing through. So, but that's on a serious note. We got 13,000 black elected officials in this country. We've had mayors, we've had governors, we have city council members. We need to get radical. I have the
Right. And so, he says, I have the distinct honor to be able to come before you and say, I actually lost white population in my community, right? And if the race, it's simple as this. If the race was reversed and it was a white guy sitting there saying, "Hey, I come before you guys with the good word, with the good knowledge that black people are moving out of our community and that we are gaining more, white electors in positions of power, and all these people are cheering and clapping for that, right? You will have CNN, all these left wing news outlets coming out saying, hey, this representative is clearly a racist and he needs to be impeached or removed from office, whatever it takes, right? But when it is black people doing the same thing, saying that against white people, well, then it's clearly, fine, terrific and all this other crap, right? No. Racism is racism. It doesn't matter what type of what color your skin is, right? However, leftists have been trying to change that definition of racism to power plus privilege, right? White people are the only people who have power in America, is what they'll say, and therefore only white people can be really racist, right? Black people who celebrate bad things happening to white people or say the most god awful things about white people, well, they're not racist, they're just being prejudiced. But please, come on, that's nothing compared to what white people have done or said about black people or other minority groups. It's like, no, that's still racism. You're still a racist bigot, dude. Like, I don't care what your new definition is. Racism is racism. Okay. But again, what he is celebrating is essentially saying that, hey, white people are moving out of our areas, right? They're leaving these areas. And because of that, we are able to get more black people in positions of power, and we need to get more radical, right? We need to get more radical, right? Meaning that we need to crank that up to 100, okay? And so why does that matter? Because people like Patrice Colors Khan, right, where it is kind of a hypocrisy right here. I'm going to show you guys in a second, right? Remember when she bought a $1.4 million in, I believe it was Topanga Canyon, which apparently people found out that it was a majority white population, right? Where 82.3% of the population of Topanga Canyon were non-white. Okay. However, a funny quote that Patrice Colors came out with, which is accredited to her, is she comes out and says, wherever black people are in America, right? Uh, Criminalization exists. Wherever there is a white dominant space, deep racism exists as well, no matter how progressive. If you cut too far into that progressive, if you do something that's too radical, white racism will emerge, right? Which is complete and total hypocrisy. It's like, well, if you really believe that, Patrice, why are you moving to a majority white neighborhood, right? What's this saying? Out of the skillet and into the fire, right? It's all one big grift, right? If for Patrice Colors, it's a grift, but however, she claimed to be a trained Marxist, right? What we are starting to see here is the more radical, very pro segregationist side of black activism that was very much present in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, right? And it never went away because just because Martin Luther King Jr., right, his form of, the Jesus Christ, non-violent, take arms and fight like the Black Panthers, right? His form was the more peaceful Jesus Christ style of protesting, right? Which overtly won at the end of the day, okay? However, these black activists who were the more militant, anti-white, pro-segregationists, right? The Black Panthers, people who were around, the Malcolm X crowd, and even the pro-communist side, right? Yes, there was African Americans who were overtly on the side of communism, right? People who were in the Black Panthers and other groups were like, hey, if we cannot, if white society is not allowing us to exist, well, then we need to stage a communist revolution, such as what we were seeing in Venezuela, Cuba, in what was it, Peru, Shining Light with Gustavo there, right? And so these people never went away because in the 60s, 70s, you had McCarthyism, right? The rise of McCarthyism in people, the Red Scare, right? So a lot of people were anti-communism, right? However, these individuals didn't just fade away. They didn't just disperse, right? A person in the middle right here, her name is Angela Davis, right? Angela Davis did what? She became a well-educated person, got a MA, a master's degree, and a PhD, and became a teacher at the University of California, right? Right. She was a longtime member of the Communist Party of America and was a founding member of the Committees of Correspondence for Democracy and Socialism. Okay. So this side of black activism, they never went away. They just became school teachers. They became university professors and started teaching the new generation of young people to be pro-communist, to be pro-socialist, right? And so when we talk about the idea of cultural Marxism, this is where it came from, right? The Frankfurt School, right? Who went to the Frankfurt School? Who's University of Frankfurt right here? Okay, Angela Davis, a person who has been credited by many people, CRT, right? Critical race theorist, right? All these leftists will come out and sit here and say, we're just trying to teach black African-American studies, right? We're just trying to teach slavery in schools. No, you're not. You are teaching academics that are based off of far left communist cultural Marxist talking points by people like Angela Davis, right? And all these people who are now credited for creating CRT all come back and say Angela Davis was a inspiration for them, right? Whether they met her personally or they directly learned from her. Okay, so again, this is from we're looking for at the Wikipedia, right? This is Wikipedia's old cultural Marxist page. This is looking at the Wayback Machine, right? They have since removed all this, right? All this crap has been removed and it's now considered a conspiracy theory, right? It's a right-wing conspiracy theory that the cultural Marxism is a actual school of thought based off of Karl Marx's communist literature, right? In that conservatives are just using it as a tool to just make a bunch of bull crap, right? No, it's not. Again, Frankfurt School, who went to the Frankfurt School? Angela Davis, right? What is she part of, right? Who are, what societies is she a part of? What, committees that she helped found? Communist Party, Democracy and Socialism, right? Okay, so it's not a conspiracy theory. And again, this side of the black activism, right, the more militant pro-segregation, the anti-white side, they never went away. And because of people like Patrisse Cullors-Khan, a self-proclaimed trained Marxist, she helped revive that element of, of this side of black activism here in America in the current era, where you are now starting to see open racism from black leaders within our government, openly celebrating the fact that white people are being pushed out or white people are leaving their communities, right? Because again, they want it, right? They want white people out of their district, out of their areas, because that allows them to again get more black people elected, right? That's what they believe, right? At least, right? That's what they believe. That's how they are rationalizing all this crap, right? But again, they celebrate the fact that white people are leaving their communities. But if the race was reversed, if there were white people here saying that, hey, we're happy that black people or non-whites are moving out of our area, and that is allowing us to get more white people elected in certain positions of power within our government. You'll see CNN and all these other left-wing news outlets screaming to high heaven about how this is evil, right? How this is evil and these people need to be removed from office. But as long as these are black people saying it, well, it's perfectly okay. They're not racist because the new definition of racism is power plus privilege, right? Total bullcrap, right? Get that crap out of here. So again, I just wanted to break down, not necessarily saying, hey, look at this guy, look how evil he is and what he's saying, this is why he's evil. No, let's look at what he's saying, where this kind of sentiment, like this dot process, this rationalization really comes from, and who were behind it, and how this is going to continue to happen in the future, right? Because again, this element of black people who adopted the communist Marxist ideology, they never went away. This type of racism was always present in these black activist communities, right? It was just a very unpopular side of it, right? It should have been. It should have been a very unpopular side of it. However, due to increasing pressure from, black, essentially the grifting of Black Lives Matter, this side, this anti-white, very openly racist side of the black community, black activist community, has been essentially revived. It has been revived, and it has been allowed to do and say whatever it wants unopposed, right? If you're a white person on the left and you come out and say, hey, I think what this guy is saying is racism, based on the right definition, right? Not the old definition, the right definition of racism. You come out and you say something against that, well, then you're now going to be canceled, right? All the people around you are going to sit here and say, hey, you're a racist because how dare you speak about that, right? Get out of here, right? You're fired, okay? So again, this, I just want to show you guys that, hey, this is something that has always been present in that side, right? That side of the black activist movements. However, due to current day politics, they have been allowed to essentially stay underground, rebuild their strength, rebuild their recruit massively, and now you're starting to see these people re-emerging in positions of power everywhere, coming out of academia, going into companies, HR and all this other crap, right? Pushing this whole diversity, equity, inclusion nonsense, right? Because this is the type of ideology that they have, right? You literally had a video where I forgot what company it was, but you had a black girl who was sitting there in a room full of white people telling them how to be less white, right? Like, what type of bull crap is that? Where have we gone as a society who, again, adopted Martin Luther King Jr.'s belief, right? His dream, judge me based on the content of my character, not the color of my skin. However, again, these people say, no, we want to judge people based on the color of their skin because your skin has power, your skin has privilege, and therefore you white people are, the new, again, have power and privilege over everybody else, and therefore you guys are inherently evil for the color of your skin. No, dude, that's not the right definition of racism, and I'm not going to sit here and allow this to continue to fester, right? Continue to fester, continue to grow any longer, right? We need to say, hey, enough is enough. This is evil. These people are evil, and we need to sit down and say, you guys need to stop, okay? And vote in better people, better representatives, right? But again, as I said before, these people are happy that white people are leaving their communities because that allows them to go unopposed. It allows them to go unopposed, and they can get into positions of power because they are the side of black activism that was very present in the 50s and the 60s, who were the segregationists, the pro-communist side, who wanted to stage a kind of communist utopia, overthrow the government where black people had their own like section off part of America, right? It failed. It never really gained any type of popularity nor any type of real driving force. It was immediately squashed. So these people went underground, started getting positions in academia, right? Because there was a bunch of communists who were professors, right? White professors who were pro-communist, sympathetic to the Iron Curtain. And so they lashed up all these people, right? They lashed up all these activists, right? Whether they were feminists, whether they were black activists, they said, hey, you guys want to, come get an education and become professors, and you can push your activism to the next generation of children, right? Because again, that's all part of the cultural Marxist playbook. So, like always, stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you Patriots on the battlefield.